Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first Friday entrepreneurship call with K-State Research and Extension. The purpose of this e-call is to nurture small businesses and inspire entrepreneurship across the state. We always encourage partner sharing after the speaker is done. I failed to remind you of that in the promotion, but I hope that if you think of something that you will share that with us, even if we can't attend, it may give us inspired new ideas for other people on the call. The call is scheduled for 60 minutes, but of course, online allows you to leave at any time. As always, the call is being recorded and you will get a link to the website when it's posted, and it's also posted in the chat. After the call, I will send you and everyone who signed up for the call a summary of what we learned. And for those of you who are here today, I ask you for 120 seconds of time at the end of the call. When I send out that follow-up this time, I'm going to ask you to give me some feedback about whether this is effective for you and how to make it more effective. So would appreciate your thoughts after the call. So we are just thrilled to have today Janelle Dobbins and Sammy Gleason. I think this is such a timely presentation on how From the Land of Kansas can help your small business. So Janelle and Sammy, take it away.
Thanks, Nancy. We are excited to be here today. So as Nancy said, I'm Janelle Dobbins with the From the Land of Kansas program. And some of you may know about From the Land of Kansas. Some of you may think you know about From the Land of Kansas. And some of you, this may be kind of new information for you. So let's first talk about who we are. So we are the state's trademark program, and we are designed to promote and celebrate agricultural experiences and products grown, raised, or produced in the state. So our From the Land of Kansas brand and logo, it makes it easier for folks to find and support Kansas-made products and Kansas-based businesses. And we offer an array of incentives to Kansas companies, from very big companies to very small companies. And so those are all different types of companies. So it may be farmers and ranchers, producers and processors, value-added agriculture, manufacturing, restaurants, agritourism, or retail partners. I know lots of people think From the Land of Kansas is just food-based, and I will say a lot of our businesses do have food, but we also work with equipment folks. We also work with folks who make lotions or candles or soaps, but they have to have goat's milk in them or sunflower oil. They have to have that agricultural component, but it's not just food products that we do work with. So let's give you a little history, and this is why I say some of you may think you know what From the Land of Kansas is, but it's kind of changed through the years. As you can see on this, I mean, back in 1872, the Kansas Board of Agriculture formed, which eventually became the Kansas Department of Ag. But in 1978, they launched the From the Land of Kansas program. And in '84, we started using that From the Land of Kansas logo with the half sunflower, which is definitely a logo people recognize really well. And then in 1996, the program actually moved to the Department of Commerce. And in 2010, they changed the name to simply Kansas. And in 2011, it came back to the Department of Ag. And in 2015, it went back to the original name of From the Land of Kansas, but we started using the current logo. And I started working then with From the Land of Kansas at the end of 2016. And then Sammy just joined us this year. So to tell you about how people can be, or businesses can be part of the From the Land of Kansas. So we work with people who are doing 100% of the product that's grown, raised, or produced in Kansas, or 100% of the processing and manufacturing or craftsmanship is done in Kansas. But also if someone owns a Kansas restaurant and is featuring Kansas foods and saying where, exactly what farms and stuff they're coming from, they can be part of the From the Land of Kansas program. Also, businesses that do agritourism can be part of the program. We do ask that they register with the Kansas Department of Wildlife, Parks and Tourism with Sue Stringer, and that's because they get some extra limited liability when they also register with them when they are an agritourism business. And we also work with businesses that offer 3 or more Kansas products for sale in their store. So it may be a boutique that's doing a whole Kansas section, or someone who's wanting to carry more Kansas products. We're happy to work with them. but we do always check and make sure that all products and businesses are in good standing and meet the standards set forth by local, state, and national regulations. So this is just a really short little list of the benefits that our members can use. But one of the first things we always want to make sure that anyone knows if they're looking at From the Land to Kansas is they can be a free member of the program. And there's still lots of benefits they get from that. Even when they're a free member, they're still going to be listed on our website. And we also have a mapping feature. So consumers can find businesses really easy. And that's one of the things they get with just being a free member. And then we do also have some paid benefits. And those range from a wide range of prices of everything from $10 to, I think even our most expensive is $350. So you can figure out what you need most for your business for this year and kind of what might fit. So here's a few of the ones that we'll go through. So UPC barcodes. So if you happen to be a food business and you're needing to get into the grocery store and you're needing a barcode, you can work with us. We work with GS1 and buy our barcodes in bulk. So we're able to sell them back to our members at a reduced rate. So you can buy one UPC code or you can buy 50. Whatever you're needing, we can help you with that. We also allow use of our From the Land of Kansas logo. And we actually just did a brand study that finished up a couple of months ago. And it showed that consumers said 81% of the time that if they saw the From the Land of Kansas logo on a product, they would buy it over another product on the shelf. So we know that logo is super important. So we want to be able to give that option to our members to use the logo. And then they have access to our e-commerce platform. And I will talk just a little bit more about that on our next slide. And then we offer marketing assistance. And this may vary depending on the size of the business. It might be a new business is just getting started and they need help on building their Facebook page. So we might be helping them on that. Or it might be someone who has their Facebook page, but they're trying to figure out how to do a Facebook campaign. Or they're trying to understand better how to get into Instagram and what that means to their business. Or maybe they're needing help with their email marketing and getting something set up on that. Or maybe they're large enough and they're ready to start exporting or working international and they're needing connections with that. We work with businesses on all those different topics and lots of things I haven't mentioned. And then events and trade shows. As we know here in 2020, that has changed a lot of what that means. But we've also been trying to pivot as a program and figure out what would work for our members. So when the state fair ended up having to cancel, we took it virtual. We called it the Purple Ribbon Marketplace and ran the store just for the time of the state fair, the 11th through the 20th of September. But we gave an opportunity for our members to run state fair deals. We also did a whole online marketing campaign about it. And we also talked a lot about the backstory of our members because we know consumers really want to understand and make that connection. So it gave us an opportunity to share their stories and it gave all the consumers an opportunity to still get those state fair deals and still have that fun state fair experience, but just in a different way because they were doing it virtual from home. And then we do newsletters. And for our members, there's kind of two different newsletters. We have one that goes directly to our members that are talking about things that would benefit them. And then we also have one of the benefits is they can choose to be in our consumer facing newsletter. That's called Trademark Connections. And it might be that they want to feature a new product that they're getting ready to launch, or they just might want to tell their story to those consumers. So that's one of the options they have. And then for some of our food companies, we have discounted rates with the Kansas Value Added Foods Lab, and that's both the Foods Lab and the Meat Lab. So if a business is needing nutritional labeling, if they're needing shelf tests, all of that, they do get a discount with being a From the Land of Kansas member. We do have a full benefit catalog online that people can look at anytime they want. And so when Nancy sends this out, you guys will have access to all of these links to look further. And you can also always call us and ask what benefits. And as we tell our members kind of each year, we ask them, what benefits would you like to see and have us offer? Because we are always trying to evolve the program to make sure it works for best what Kansas companies are needing. So as I said, we would talk a little bit more about e-commerce. So we have an e-commerce platform called shop.fromthelandofkansas.com that our members can use as their e-commerce platform. So we have members use it in a couple of different ways. We have some who have just primarily 100% only sell on our site. They had first looked at building an e-commerce site, and then they decided it was actually easier just to use ours because it's only $100 a year for our members to sell through our site. We have some who have their own websites and they use this as a second or a third selling portal because they know we're reaching different consumers than they may be finding. So this e-commerce site works very easy for our members. Of when an order is placed on it, they get an email saying, here's what was ordered, here's where it needs to be shipped, and then the money transfers directly into their accounts for what was paid for shipping and for the product. And they can also run sales on our website and do lots of different things. And so right now, some of the few members, there's so many options on there, but I've only listed a few. So we're selling sunflower oil, we're doing multiple honey products, popcorns, barbecue sauces, mixes and rubs, and pet treats. And then of course, we have a few From the Land of Kansas branded items. And of course, this time of year, we have our holiday gift boxes. So these ship anywhere in the US, and it makes shopping easy, and it helps support businesses in your state and across Kansas. And kind of here's our ad, but why we started this program, and we have seen that it's working, is we wanted to get different Kansas products in people's hands in a different way. And I actually helped a woman yesterday who called in. She was making a large order on the website and had a couple of questions about products. And I asked, well, do you happen to know about our holiday gift box program? And she goes, well, how do you think I learned about all of these Kansas products? I live in Colorado. I actually got one of these boxes as a gift and fell in love with the sunflower oil and a couple of the other products. So I order like every 6 months from your website at least, and sometimes every 3 months. And I just saw you had new products on, so I wanted to learn more about them. So we know these gift boxes help our businesses in so many ways, not just with getting an initial sale here during November and December, but it may be making a lifelong customer who may introduce other ones to them. So how do you sign up? So one thing we always make sure is everyone has the proper licenses. Some businesses might not even need a license, but we work with them to make sure. And one of the first things anyone can check on is just what type of licensing they might need. And we have on the KDA website under services, licensing guides. And that's everything from if someone's wanting to be doing dairy processing, if they're wanting to open a micro distillery, if they're wanting to open a farmer's market, there's all types of handy guides there. And we also tell people, give us a call, even if you haven't fully opened your business, but you're just thinking about it, or you're wanting to make sure you're following the correct steps. Because if you give us a call, we may not be able to answer all of your questions, but we'll work with our agribusiness development team, and we may hook you directly up with food safety if you might have questions with that. Because there's lots of things as people are starting a business that they may have questions, and they don't have to start alone. So we say, reach out to From the Land of Kansas. And if you're not quite ready to be a member yet, don't worry. We'll still hook you up with the people who can answer those questions. But once you are fully ready, you can submit an application, which is all done online. Now, it's very easy to fill out. You just fill out some information about your company so we know more about it. And then you get to select your benefits for the year. And those are some of the benefits I talked about earlier, but you get to go through and see, and it's just for that 1 year. And so 1 year you may do 8 benefits. 1 year you may do 2 benefits. It's kind of like we make it fit your business for that year. It's all a la carte, so you can figure out what you need, and you can even add more benefits throughout the year if you're finding you need some more, as long as they're not sold out. Because a couple of our really popular ones, like we do Facebook Lives and a few things like those sell out pretty quickly in the year, but you can always easily go online and see what's still available. And then stay in touch with us about new events and our opportunities. Or if you're on listening to this right now or watching us, if you're in K-State Research and Extension, or you're an economic development director and you know one of our members is launching a new product, if they're having an event at their store, let us know about it if they haven't. We love talking about our members and sharing that information with all of our contacts, but we only know about some of those things if someone tells us. And then we do a renewal every year, and there's a couple of reasons for this. One, we have a mapping feature on our website, and that talks about the business. So we're always wanting to make sure we have current email, phone numbers, hours of the business, because we wouldn't want a consumer showing up at a storefront and being disappointed because they had wrong information. And two, it just helps us make sure that we connect with the business at least once a year, if not more. And we know where they're going. Maybe they have questions about expanding, or they're starting to think through a few different things they might want to try new in the year. And it's always good to have those conversations because we might have connections that could help them go to that next step. And if they're not sure if they've renewed, they can always reach out to us at fromthelandtokansas@ks.gov to verify. We're happy to let them know on that. Another arm of From the Land to Kansas is we are the Central Farmers Market registration point. So we had more than 76 markets signed up this year from Overland Park to Syracuse of all sizes. It's absolutely free to register, but there's a couple of things that the registration does provide. So one, markets do get a limited legal liability when they are signed up with From the Land to Kansas. And they have access to a couple of different resources. Well, some of those resources are marketing and promotion. So we talk about social media, about what's happening on the farmers markets. As I said, also, we have a map on our website and a listing of all farmers markets. So someone can easily go to the map and see if they're going to be in Southeast Kansas, what markets might be around the area, and if they're open on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or if they're open on Saturdays, so they know kind of when they can do their shopping. We also have a new app that's going to be debuting in the spring. We've been working with KSRE and actually a class, computer science class with K-State, who's been building this app, and it'll be really helpful for vendors and also for consumers. But as I said, we're launching that a little later here in this next spring. And then we have Farmers Market Month in August each year, where we definitely talk about farmers markets and remind consumers to get out there and shop all of the fresh products. We do ask, just kind of like we do our members, we ask all of our farmers markets to renew every year, because we know occasionally they change locations, they might change days, or they might change the time just a little bit. And we want to make sure any information we're sharing out there is correct and relevant and the most up to date. So some of those other resources we provide is an annual regional workshop across the state. We normally do about 6. We're still figuring out our exact plans this year. We do know it's going to be in February 2021, and we do know it's probably going to be a mix of some in person and some online, so just stay tuned. And one of the ways to stay tuned about that information is our monthly e-newsletter just for farmers markets. So it's called the Farmers Market Network. And that newsletter is specific to farmers markets. So it's going to be talking about information. This last year, we interviewed different months. We interviewed different markets to talk about how were they handling COVID and what was working for them. So we were learning everything from people setting up a website where people could shop online, to one of our markets did kind of a pickup process of where you drove up with your list. They had runners who would then take your shopping list, go shop it for you, and bring it directly to your car. So we're always talking to all of our markets, finding out what's working for them and telling you about it to see what might work for your local market. And then we do have a farmers market marketing online toolkit that people find very handy as long as they remember that it's there. So there's a couple of parts to it. It has a general marketing guide that kind of talks about how to publicize your farmers market, engage your community, and bring new customers to the market. And then there's a general marketing guide that talks about how to, or your online toolkit guide, sorry, that talks about how to edit and use the fillable templates and all the online resources available. We do have a seasonality calendar that they can print out and hand out at the market that we made specifically for Kansas. And then because we know a lot of our market managers or different folks don't have a lot of time, or they may just be volunteers and stuff, we tried to figure out things that could help them. And one of the things that we'd had requested was fillable templates, because people said, I don't have a time to make my own posters or newsletter or postcard. So we have all of those templates there that all they have to do is enter their information and they're ready to go. We also have kids activities, because we know if a kid gets excited about going to the farmer's market, obviously they're bringing their parents with them or their grandparents with them to the market. So we have both a farmer's market maze and a farmer's market scavenger hunt that are done for kids, that they can just hop online, print those out, and have a kid Saturday or a kid Tuesday night activity. And that way it's all made up for them, very easy for them to use. And then we also have social media graphics of different recipe cards. There's 40 different cards listed, because we know, as I always say, that 4th week of zucchini, people are like, I do not need one more zucchini. This gives them a lot of great ideas, because these are not, they're still easy recipes, but they might not be the normal thing you would first make with extra product. So you can use this, or our vendors can use these at the markets to get folks to buy either things for another week, or maybe it's something they haven't tried before. Maybe they don't know how to fix Brussels sprouts or okra or parsnips. So this gives them an idea of how to do it, because consumers are very much more likely to buy a product if they already know how they're going to fix it and how to use it. And we do have handouts, and we have these both online, or we have actual physical copies, and they'll be being updated here. So we'll have new versions in February for 2021, but we have them both in Spanish and English. We have 3 different versions of things. So we have food safety regulations and best practices guide. We have our sampling safety guide, and then food labeling for Kansas food producers and processors. So any market who wants these for all of their vendors, just let us know, and we're happy to mail them out to them, or we can also make sure they have all the links which live on our website every day. And now I'm going to pass it over to Sammy, our marketing coordinator for From the Land of Kansas, and she's going to talk through a couple of other opportunities for folks in your community, or maybe for yourself.
Thank you, Janelle. The Kansas Department of Agriculture offers several resources, such as our specialty crop block grants, organic certification, cost share program, and ag stress assistance. The access to our grant program. So the specialty crop block grant programs, this offer is a project. This project will financially assist Kansas specialty crop growers in attending a recognized conference focused on specialty crop growing techniques and industries to increase their knowledge base. Specialty crop growers will also be able to develop a plan of action to incorporate knowledge gained into their operation. This application closes December 18th, and we have the link in here for you to apply. If you have any questions, you'll have my information at the end of the presentation, and you can call or email me for questions. The Organic Cost Share Program. Farmers and businesses that produce, process, or package certified organic agriculture products are eligible to be reimbursed for 50% of certification related costs, up to 500 per category. This is paid from October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020. Applications close December 15th. And we will have the link for you as well. We know that there's ag stress in the field, especially with COVID and everything going on in our world. So we just want to provide Kansas ag stress assistance. So go to kansasagstress.org, provides resources and support to those dealing with ag related stress. We're partnered with KSRE and other ag partners. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You can go to our From the Land of Kansas Facebook page and our Instagram page and Twitter. And then also we have our fromthelandofkansas.com and then our shop site that Janelle talked about as well. Thank you. And then we have our information here as well as Janelle Dobbins, Marketing Manager. You can feel free to email her or call her, and then my information. And feel free to call me or email me. Thank you.
Fantastic. Wow. I'm personally blown away and thinking about people who need to know these things. So for those of you who are new to the call, one of the things that I failed to tell you about earlier was the opportunity to share information. I'm going to give you the opportunity to think about and reflect on Janelle and Sammy's presentation, but I also want you to have the opportunity to share too. So if there's anything that you have going on, or if you have any questions about the programs that Sammy and Janelle have shared, this is your time to ask, and you can unmute yourselves, and we'd love to see your faces too if you're able to do that. But while you're thinking of your questions and getting unmuted, Sammy, I taught a grant workshop yesterday, and one of the participants wanted to go into specialty crops. So I found that just really interesting. Is the scholarship a full scholarship, or is it limited to certain things? certain amounts?
It's up to, and I can answer this because Sammy's a little newer on this, up to $850 reimbursement. And it normally would cover, so things that could be covered are registration, travel, and meals. And we do know that lots of the conferences for specialty crops have been starting to go online and virtual. So you would still be able to get that, your registration, because you may not have the other travel costs. And if you have multiple ones you would like to attend, apply for each of them, because we will keep approving until the funds are exhausted. So if you have two you really want to, give me two different applications, send those in. And if you have questions about them, as Sammy said, you can talk to her. But pretty much if the conference, as long as there's a specialty crop portion of the conference, that can be approved then. So you can learn about growing strawberries, Christmas trees, whatever you want to get more information on. And especially with the virtual, many of them going virtual, I think there's a lot more opportunities for people who might have not been able to travel or take 4 or 5 days away from their farm. Now they can instead just hop on the computer for the day and be able to be connected to lots of folks and ask questions.
Is there a resource that shows them what are some conferences that are available?
Yeah, on that link in our presentation, or if you also, the way to get to it on our website, on the KDA website, is if you go into under services, just like you got to the licensing guide, but if you go to services and then to grants, cost share programs, and then it is called Specialty Crop Grower Conference Reimbursement Grant. We have a list of, on there, about 5 or 6 that are just some of the examples of ones. It's not only just those ones. You can easily just email us if you have a question on it and say, hey, I'm looking at, if you don't want to go through the whole application until you have an answer, and say, hey, I'm looking at attending this conference, would it count? And we'll look into it and let you know.
Cool. Okay, so we're ready for the rest of your questions. I hope you've had an opportunity to think what they are.
Hi, I'm Christina Beringer, and I'm representing Colby, Kansas this morning. We're in the northwest corner of the state in Thomas County, and I'm representing several different clients and organizations here. I have a couple questions for you. One being, I help the Prairie Museum of Art and History in their gift shop. And I know we've carried some from the Land of Kansas products in the past, and I was wondering, is the e-commerce website that you recommended earlier, is that the best way to purchase wholesale products from all of your from your product catalog?
So actually to do the wholesale, there's a couple of different ways you can do. You can reach out to us and say, we're specifically looking for these types of products, and we can send you a small list then. We'll curate it for you. And we can send you the list and send you the contacts at each of those companies, because different companies have different wholesale pricing. That's usually the easiest way. Or lots of times people will first start on the shop site, go through and say, hey, I would like more information on these companies. And then if you have any products that fit this, because we're specifically also looking for, soaps that are made with sunflower oil or different items, and we'll add those to a list and send you that information.
Do you have any plans in the future to create an online e-commerce site that lists just like a consumer would see, but just specifically for wholesalers and retailers to purchase wholesale? So I could click on all of those different vendors and shop in one location from all of them. Is that in the works by any chance?
It does not happen to be in the works. It is on a long priority list that we would like to get to. And we're trying to figure out maybe a quicker, easier way to do it so we can move it up the priority list, because we have had a couple of requests recently more for being able to get wholesale contacts. So it's good to know that it is would be helpful and that people are interested in it.
Okay. So if I were to, you said look specifically for certain kinds of products and contact you, would I email you directly, Janelle?
Yep, you can email me or Sammy, either one of us, and we will work on getting that list to you.
Okay. And then the second question I have is I do work with the farmers market here through Live Well Northwest Kansas and the Thomas County Coalition in the summer. Do you provide services for Northwest Kansas or just the eastern parts of the state?
Our central farmers market is all across farmers markets all across the state. So we can work with you and help make sure that you're using all the different tools we have and that you're listed on our website. And then if you have certain markets or questions, like one of the things we get from sometimes from people is they're like, I want to do a tomato festival. Do you know any other market that's done that would be willing to talk to me? And so sometimes we're literally connecting someone from Northwest Kansas to someone from Southeast, et cetera, because usually farmers markets aren't competing against each other per se. And so it's a great way to be able to learn from another market how they were able to do an event or something.
Okay, very cool. So when you said earlier that you coordinate farmers markets from Overland Park to Syracuse, does that just mean you don't have anybody in Northwest Kansas on your
No,
list?
that was just meaning one part of the state to the other. I was not meaning a direct line.
Okay, I was like, shoot, what is going on over there?
Next time, you're right. I need to like do all like four corners and maybe one in the middle or something. No, it was just kind of trying to say, hey, we work with farmers markets all across the state.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for answering my questions. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for the questions. I'm sure some other people got some questions answered that they might have just not voiced yet.
And Christina, it's so helpful to those of us that do presentations to hear how our messages are missing people. It's like, yeah, that's as far as you can go from east to west, but we didn't talk about north to south.
That's right. We're kind of used to being the ugly sister of Kansas, you know.
Oh.
A lot of people, I feel like, forget that Kansas goes past Hays and Salina. There's people out here in Western Kansas. So thanks for keeping us on your list. We appreciate it.
Well, I will tell you, my last intern who just graduated in May was from Colby. So we were definitely always hearing things about what was happening in Northwest. And actually 2 years ago, we did our very first Taste of Kansas event out in Waukene. So
Love that.
we know
So
you guys are out
awesome.
there.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to hear that our Kansas crop people are getting out to you. That's awesome.
That is awesome. And I just think I look at the impact of the pandemic. While there's a lot of negative impacts, there really are some positive impacts. And our ability, you know, my husband and I were pleasantly surprised that we did know how to feed ourselves. And we're kind of enjoying using those Kansas products. And what a great survey on recognition. That must have been really gratifying to understand that people would choose Kansas if they knew it was an opportunity.
Yeah, our brand study has been interesting to see, and particularly with that logo, that was a great finding.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Other questions? Okay, if you think of one after we start talking about sharing, you're certainly welcome to ask again. But I wanted to, as you're thinking about what you might want to be sharing, Courtney Kuntz is on the call, and Courtney is our speaker for December, the December 4th call. And so Courtney, if you can unmute and tell us what you'll be talking about in December, we'd love to hear from you.
All right. Thank you, Nancy. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm the outreach coordinator for the K-State Technology Development Institute in Manhattan. Like Nancy said, I'm going to be doing the December First Friday Zoom to talk about our program that we have at TDI called the Great Plains Technology and Manufacturing Cluster, or as we like to call it, the Great Plains TMC. Some of the things I'll talk about are the services that we can provide, some new programs that we're going to be starting, some partnership collaborations that we have, and as well as how we can help entrepreneurs and manufacturers throughout the region grow and be successful through the Great Plains region that we cover. So I hope that you can join me this coming December to learn more about what we have to offer. Oh, I think you're muted, Nancy. Nancy, I think you're muted.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Courtney.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have anything to share? If you're looking past Christmas, why, I will tell you that in January, the first Friday call is on January 1st, and we're taking the day off. So we do have ideas for next year. I don't know whether Elizabeth Berger is, yeah, I see Elizabeth Berger is still on. And Elizabeth is slated to present in April about the role of, Elizabeth is with the Sunflower Foundation here in Topeka, and she's going to be talking about the role of trails in economic development. By then, we think that we'll all be anxious to get outside and back on those Kansas trails. And so I was so thrilled when she had that idea. If any of the rest of you have ideas about things that you've heard about that you found to be exciting, I welcome that. And that's part of the purpose of that 2-minute survey that I'm going to send out to you too. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, you know, those of you that have been here before know that I like to end with a thought for the day. And so here's a fairly well-known thought for the day from Calvin Coolidge. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. So go out there and have a great Kansas day and just keep trying. Thanks everybody for joining us.